Hey guys, don't you love these little compartments that Ram puts underneath the back carpet? One on each side. They call them coolers, I think, but mine's never had ice in it or anything cold. But I do carry fuel filters and other things. And there's one thing that really, I think, personally, everybody should have. And that's a code reader. And let me show you. I've had 4 codes on my truck since I've had it. It's 3 years old. It's 2014. I carry this little, it's called a MaxiCam MS309. Let's see if you can see it right there. I'm not pushing this brand. I just know it's a popular brand on the forums and stuff, and one of the guys recommended it to me, and that's why I bought it. It's a cheap little code reader, and that's all you need. This is under 20 bucks. And you know, you can pay hundreds of dollars for these things, but you're going to get the same thing. Something that's going to spit out a code PO20 something, whatever. Now, they may be a little bit of a definition, but it's really not going to help you in a pinch. I mean, I'm talking about carrying this for emergencies when you're out on the road and something goes haywire and you need to clear a code. If possible, always go to the dealer. You know, bring it to them and let them handle it. Because if you go to them and say, hey, I had this code, but I cleared it, they can say, well, you know, we can't do anything unless you bring it to us when it's acting up. So, you know, that's the preference. If you got time, if you're not in a bind. But I've had three or four codes since I had my truck, 2014, as I said. And one of them, particularly, it was probably about a year ago. I cranked it up in the garage. It went into limp mode, and the message said transmission solenoid on this little thing here, some solenoid error. And I didn't realize it at first when I backed out into the street. It was in 4th gear. That's limp mode, 4th gear. And you can't do much in 4th gear. You can empty with the torque these things have, but if you're towing, I mean, you know, it's going to leave you kind of in a bind. You can still do 55, 60 miles an hour in 4th gear easily, but I cleared it, and it hadn't been back since, and it's been over a year. It's just some kind of fluke when I started up. I don't know, you know, but I really think any brand, just don't pay a lot of money for these things, because the internet's a lot more valuable than what the little thing's going to read out to you. And if there is an issue, the dealer's going to have the equipment to, you know, to analyze it better than anything you can buy, unless you really want to spend some money on one of these things. But all you really need right here is just something to clear the code, regardless of what it is, really. But it will tell you, you know, transmission error or whatever. You know, I had one that was a grid heater. It was a legitimate problem, and you know, I cleared it, come back. I keep clearing it, come back. It was actually showing low voltage. So, you know, you're gonna end up, if you got a problem, you're gonna end up at the dealer, and they're gonna figure it out. And the guy told me right off the bat, he said, I thought, well, maybe I got a bad battery, and it wasn't the battery, it was the grid heat. And he told me when I pulled in there, he says, everyone I've seen so far, it's a grid heater solenoid is what it was. It was a little simple fix. But anyway, I really recommend any brand. Just like I say, don't spend any money on these things. Just get a cheap one. They plug into the connector right under the dash. Real simple. Don't need to bother you trying to explain to you how it works, because it's so intuitive, so simple, that you just plug it in. It's going to tell you if your engine's running. It's probably going to tell you shut it off, put it in an accessory, or whatever it needs. It's going to tell you, and just, you know, if you're on a highway and you're in a bind, it's going to save you a lot of hassle. Might even save you from having to be towed or something, you know. My buddy had a Duramax, and he'd run back and forth to work about maybe just a couple of miles every day, and the engine never got warmed up, and his soot filter just finally, not because the engine wasn't warmed up, but because he just didn't give it time to regen. I don't think this Ram would have done that. I think it would have been on regen until it finally cleared that soot filter. But this was a 2010, I think, Duramax. So we took my little Autel Maxi Scan here, and I sat next to him in the seat next to him, and he'd drive down the road. I just tell him, you know, head down the highway somewhere, and that code would keep popping on, and I'd clear it, popping on, and I'd clear it, popping on, and I'd clear it. I probably wouldn't have done that with my truck, but eventually it did burn that soot out of there. Now, it happened to him one other time, and the truck was in warranty and everything, but the Chevy dealer said, no, it's, you know, that's an operator problem there. You didn't give it time to regen. So, and they don't give you all the information like Ram does. They don't have a gauge for your DEF filter or any of that stuff. Maybe the new ones do, but when I was shopping in 2014, there's so many things on this truck that I liked. This little hidden compartment, the two glove boxes. I mean, this is everything. I could spend a day talking about the dashboard. My wife would tell you she doesn't like the fact that there's no CD. That doesn't bother me because everything goes on. Any music that I want to listen to, I'll pay the $1.29 to iTunes or whatever, and I'll buy the one song and put it on my iPhone, and just goes right over with Bluetooth. I don't need a CD personally. It's got USB and everything else, but she hadn't figured out how to do that yet with her. You know, she's kind of technically challenged, so. But anyway, I recommend just getting one of these, put it in the back of your truck. You may never need it. Forget about it. But if you do, it could really, especially if you're out on a, you know, towing, traveling somewhere. That's just not a good time to get a code. And it saved me twice in spots where I was not really. When I backed out of the garage that morning, I forgot what the details were, but I was going somewhere and I had to be there pretty quickly, and I wasn't expecting my truck to go into limp mode. So it saved me, even though I was home. The other time I was pulling my travel trailer, stopped at McDonald's or something, put it in reverse and backed up, and one of the emissions codes came on, catalytic converter or something, which there is that S87 recall now, but this was a year ago, and so I don't know. I think that's something we just got to live with right now. So that's my recommendation. Go get one of these. And don't spend a lot of money because it's unnecessary, in my personal opinion. Just $20. Thanks for listening, guys. Till next time. Adios.